The Journal of Reason. The Journal of the American Medical Society arrived unassumingly, its pages filled not with sermons, but with cold clinical analysis. A team of secular scholars, forensic pathologists, historians, and physiologists, had undertaken a purely scientific inquiry. What were the precise physical mechanisms that killed Jesus of Nazareth? Their methodology was rigorous, detached, rooted in Roman records, anatomical knowledge, and comparative torture practices. They sought no spiritual truth, only biological fact. Yet their conclusions would echo a prophecy uttered 7 centuries prior, Isaiah 52 verse 14. Just as many were appalled at him. The stage was set for a collision of science and scripture. The scourging, marred beyond human likeness. The scholars dissected the Roman flagrum with chilling precision. This was no ordinary whip. Leather thongs, tipped with jagged iron hooks and sewn in sheep bone shards, were designed to hook and tear. Victims were immobilized, tied to a low, stout post, fax tree, driven into the ground, arms wrenched overhead, back stretched taut and fully exposed. Clothing was removed, humiliation was weaponized. Each strike wasn't a lash, it was a ripping. The weights embedded, the torturer yanked, stripping skin, subcutaneous fat, and muscle from the body in strips. Medical records cited victims disemboweled, spinal columns exposed. Hypovolemic shock, catastrophic fluid loss, was almost inevitable. Blood plasma, water, electrolytes poured from the body. The heart strained, starved of volume. The scholars noted grimly, Roman floggings ended only when the torturers exhausted themselves, not at a set number. Isaiah 52 verse 14 materialized. His appearance was so disfigured beyond that of any human being and his form marred beyond human likeness. The report described a man reduced to a raw, bleeding mass of tissue. Swollen eyes, lacerated face, shredded back revealing ribs and vertebrae, an object of horror, indeed. Appall was the only human response. Survival to this point defied medical expectation. The Via Dolorosa, appalled at the sight of him. Somehow, life clung to the mutilated body. But mercy was absent. The scholars calculated the physiological toll, severe dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, muscle trauma, and profound shock. The weight of the patibulum, crossbeam, estimated 75 to 100 pounds, was placed across his ravaged shoulders. The 650-meter journey to Golgotha became an insurmountable ordeal. The medical team pinpointed the cause of the 3 documented falls. His body, drained of fluid and energy, simply failed. Cellular function faltered, muscles, starved of oxygen and nutrients, seized and collapsed. Historians noted the Veronica's veil tradition, a cloth pressed to his face bearing the bloody imprint of his features, corroborated by the scholars as plausible evidence of pervasive facial trauma and hemorrhage. The prophecy echoed, many were appalled at the sight of him. The crowd recoiled not just from the blood, but from the profound disfigurement, the near erasure of recognizable humanity. He stumbled not as a man, but as a broken thing. The crucifixion, the birth of excruciating. The scholars detailed crucifixion as a masterpiece of physiological torture. The term excruciating, they noted, originates here, ex cruciatus, out of the cross. Position, arms outstretched, nailed through the wrists, destroying the median nerve, causing searing pain down the arms. Feet nailed to the upright, knees bent 20 to 30 degrees. Mechanics of suffocation, to breathe, the victim must push up on the nail-torn feet, straightening the legs, arching the back, scraping the flayed muscles against the rough wood. This lifted the diaphragm for inhalation. Sagging brought relief to the legs but caused suffocation. The agonizing cycle, every breath required a conscious, agonizing push-up on torn feet, reigniting pain in the feet, legs, and shredded back, only to collapse again, gasping. This cycle repeated endlessly. Jesus endured this for 6 hours. 6 hours of conscious, self-inflicted torture just to breathe. The scholars noted compounding factors. Hypovolemia and pleural effusion, fluid buildup in the pleural cavity further restricted breathing. Psychological torment, mockery, save yourself, shame, nakedness before his mother, and the presence of his grieving followers inflicted profound psychological agony. The cry of abandonment, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani. While beyond their medical scope, the scholars noted this coincided with extreme physiological and psychological distress. The medical report documented the physical reality, the source material hinted at a deeper, spiritual dereliction, a bearing of divine wrath and the totality of human sin and sickness. The final breath, it is finished. The medical cause of death, the scholars concluded, was likely multifactorial. Hypovolemic shock, from scourging and wounds. Respiratory failure, due to exhaustion preventing the push-up to breathe, compounded by pleural effusion. Cardiac rupture/tamponade, the spear thrust confirmed pericardial effusion, fluid buildup around the heart causing fatal pressure, consistent with stress cardiomyopathy or direct trauma. Yet, the source material revealed a profound paradox. The scholars documented the means, but the narrative spoke of choice. I have authority to lay it down and authority to take it up again, John 10 verse 18. He endured the full scourge, the crushing journey, the 6-hour crucifixion, the spiritual abandonment, and the weight of sin's reproach, not because he couldn't stop it, but because he wouldn't. The sacrifice demanded completion. Every torn piece of flesh, every gasping push on the nail, every moment of cosmic loneliness was a conscious choice to absorb the full measure of the curse. When the medical conditions for death were present, he chose the moment, it is finished. He commended his spirit, it was not taken. The spear merely confirmed what he had already surrendered. The echo of Isaiah. The journal closed. The secular scholars had dissected the anatomy of an execution with dispassionate precision. They documented the disfigurement, the shock, the mechanics of suffocation, the physiological collapse. Their clinical language described a victim of extreme Roman brutality. Yet, their findings stood as an unwitting testimony. Isaiah 52 verse 14, marred beyond human likeness, so disfigured was his appearance like an object of horror, was not poetic hyperbole. It was a precise, prophetic description validated centuries later by forensic science. The very dispassion of the report amplified the horror, making the love that endured it incomprehensible. The medical journal outlined how he died. The prophecy, fulfilled in the details, revealed why, a love willing to become unrecognizable, to embrace the full horror, to pay the excruciating price, until the only words left were, it is finished.
Dark the light arose, the empty tomb, the stone was closed.